Hello everyone, my name is Manikumar. Today my topic is about trade policies and trade reforms in India. The extent of change we needed and achieved in India shows that this was a difficult transition. However, this change was managed with much less disruption than in many other countries which carried out a significant policy reform as India has done in 1991. 2.5 decades ago, India was a country with very high tariffs, multiple and complex systems of control on both an imports and output system. An exchange rate controls had created a economic situation where ease of doing business was not a significant priority. Trade policy was considered as a tool of industrial policy within a system of extensive controls, which created time consuming multiple layers of decision making and delays and increased costs which affected trade, investment, and the efficiency of domestic operations. The reform of this system, initiated in 1991, was a huge task and required a clear specification of the path towards a more transparent and less complex system with reduced controls and established less ad hoc policy framework. As India moved towards more open market, trade policy reform still an unfinished agenda. The paper notes a number of trade policy areas where the reform agenda remains unfinished till the unfinished needs further attention. For instance, there are taxes on certain imports, tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, these involves rules and regulations which make trade more difficult. Example: tariffs. Trade policy reform still an unfinished agenda. The paper notes a number of traditional trade policy areas where the reform agenda remains unfinished and needs further attention. For instance, it points out that some parts of the reform agenda highlighted by Chelliah Committee report to the government and in 1993 still remain valid. Moreover, the paper shows that the coverage and the content of the trade policy has been increasing over time, which implies the task of trade policy reform will remain a continuing one, rather an unfinished agenda. Tariffs. While the main elements of the tariff reform were specified in the 1991 budget, this effort was supplemented by the report of expert committee under Professor Raja Chellaya. The paper provides a brief summary of this committee's recommendations, which inter alia provided a roadmap for tariff reduction and simplification of tariff regime. As mentioned above, some of the ideas in the report are still unfinished business and worth consider. Tariff barriers. These are taxes on certain imports. These involve rules and regulations which make trade more difficult. A limit placed on the number of imports, voluntary export restraint, subsidies, embargo. The Trade Unions Act to provide for the registration of trade units and certain respects to define the large relating of registered trade units. Foreign Trade Act number 22 of 1992, 7th August 1992, an act provide for the development and regulation of foreign trade by facilitating imports into and augments exports from India for matters connected therewith or incidental theoretical. Foreign trade regulations to boost the economy and grow the EXIM process in India, to improve the balance of payment and trade, to enhance the trading activities and generate a workforce environment, to provide consumers with goods and services of utmost quality with effective cost. to boost the economy and grow the EXIM process in India, to improve the balance of payment and trade, to enhance the trading activities and generate a workforce environment to provide consumers with goods and services of utmost quality with effective cost. The extent of change needed and achieved by India shows that this was a difficult transition. However, this change was managed with much less disruption than in any other countries, which was carried out as a significant policy reform as India has done since 1991, 2.5 decades ago. Tariffs. While the main elements of tariffs reform were specified in 1991 budget, this effort was supplemented by the report of expert committee under Professor Raj Chellaya. The paper provides a brief summary of this committee's recommendation, where inter alia provided a roadmap of tariff reduction and simplification of tariff regime as mentioned above. Some of the ideas in the report are still unfinished business and are worth consideration. Foreign trade regulations. Foreigners want to reduce the tax percentage in the EXIM process, so they made regulations like they reduce the tax for importing any product in their countries and also for exporting in their countries. And as wise, according to the WTO, we have reduced the taxes for the countries who have participated in the WTO World Trade Organization to improve the balance of payment and trade, to enhance the trading activities and generate workforce environment to provide consumers with goods and services of utmost quality and with effective cost. Thank you.